What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is a continuation from our previous video. We are just cultivating some different fungi here and showing the results so that you guys can learn how to do this too. Starting out with the peach cap here. Last time we moved it from the original petri dish it came in from shipping, and because it was shipped we needed to put it on a definite sterile dish, so we transferred 2 samples and they're looking pretty good there. We also took a sample from the original plate and moved it to grain just in case it was completely clean so that we can get ahead of the situation, and it turns out that it was. The grain is looking super nice. Now moving on to our next subject, this is Pholiota Nameco, also known as just Nameco, and these genetics were sent in by Northspore. Thank you guys. This was not previously a part of my library, so I appreciate them sending that to me. Also, we have the Nameco still in grain. I made about 3 different grain jars so I could repeat the process over and study it a bit better. This bad boy did take quite a while to fruit, and I think it might have been because the conditions weren't as cold as the Mycelium wanted it to, but hey, it still worked. And I also took it upon myself to make a slant of the Nameco. This is like a long-term storage Pokeball for our Pokemon, and that's gonna go in the fridge in a bit. Moving on to this project I started months and months and months ago. This was a white shimeji that we cloned from a store-bought mushroom, and now it finally fruited. It took forever. You can see it says 8/10 on there. It's now December. So as for why it took so long, I believe it might have been a temperature thing. Also, the genetics from store-bought mushrooms aren't typically the best. Usually they're older, 2nd or 3rd generation or something like that. But yeah, it had a lot of nutrients, so it came out with a weird looking cap. That's what that is. Moving on to the Maitake. We foraged and cloned a Maitake. We've been talking about it a lot recently, and it's doing really good on grain. We already isolated it on a plate, and we even have it on substrate in a Ziploc bag. And so far it's looking pretty good. It's starting to get that mat on the top, and it's starting to reach the breathing holes. That's the only thing I'm worried about. It could get contaminated if they like come up and touch that. So I have about 3 bags just like this, so we can have quite a bit of trial and error to make sure everything goes smoothly. And once this one's done colonizing, I'm probably going to put it in the tent a little bit early. And this is the Maitake on plate. Very fluffy, just like it is in the bag. Very aggressive, and this is the plate where those samples came from. So yeah, super cool. And I love eating Maitake. It is really hard to grow though. And of course, we went and slanted it away. You can see the mycelium on the edges of the agar there in the tube, so they are fully established and ready to go. All right, a lot of species in this video, as you can tell. This is enoki. Now, unlike the other ones, this one is not picky at all with how it fruits, and it fruits like weeds. It's super cool to see, especially when you can't really find these looking like this in the store. They're usually like tall and skinny. On the plate, they actually fruit just like they do off the substrate, and you can see here this plate is much older, and you can see them starting to fruit like right on the plate. So very easy starter fungi to try to grow. And I have a bunch of these bags, so I'm going to put those in the tent a little bit later. Next up, we have the Mycelium from the Panis clone and the 3 offspring that we bred. If you check out my video capturing and breeding rare fungimon, you will find that species and a cool deep dive. Moving on to the elusive Mycrodex. This is the late fall oyster, and this thing is so hard to fruit. So we have some pins here. That is the mushroom beginning to start forming, and the thing about this guy is it will always form within the plastic, and so getting it to fruit properly means releasing it out and then maintaining conditions well enough that it likes so that it doesn't abort on you. So I've been playing around with this for a couple of years, and I usually only try to do it when it's cold outside because they're so sensitive to conditions. That's why they call it the late fall oyster. I went and slanted this up. This has been slanted for a while, but I just wanted to show it. And I put it in the tent. Hopefully we get something. The reason I like that mushroom so much is because it actually is yellow and black, so that would be a really cool addition. And I just showed the conchatus there. That's another Panis subspecies. So yeah. Here we are with the Phanerochaete sanguinea. This one doesn't really have a fruiting body, I think. It kind of does. It has a really small fruiting body. But what's really cool is that it turns the substrate that it colonizes this deep blood red color. And I want to eventually get into woodworking and spalt the wood red and then make something out of it. That'd be really cool. Now, before we throw the blocks in the tent, I just wanted to show off the Panis, Iacomte, and all of the offspring. They're all slanted up, and you can see they're very established in there, so we can pull from them from like years from now, and they'll still be good and in the same condition. And I would have put this in my slant holder, but oh my god, I actually ran out of space in my slant holder, so I need another one. That's 4 years of hard work and trades and all types of stuff. That's my whole journey there. Alright, so let's release some of these guys. So this is a gnocchi. You can see some pins, which are like tiny little mushrooms forming in the air pockets here. You can see them here and on like the lining of the bag, like right here, and in the back here. So they're really sensitive to light, so they're going to pop out where air and light tend to be. So we're going to open the bag, and then we want the mycelium to wake up and redirect the resources to the top layer. So we're going to scratch them up, get them a little pissed off so that they can jump out the top and give us some nice fruit to eat. Most fungi work this way, and they have like different ways that they like to fruit, but today we'll be top fruiting most of these. So the gnocchi will be top fruited, and this is a lion's mane block. You can see there aren't really any like fruit in there yet. It's not like pinning, but there are a few like this one. This has like a huge chunk of lion's mane off to the side, and we don't want it to fruit out the side, so we're just gonna open the top and redirect them. See, this one has some fruit on the side again. That's totally fine. We're gonna fruit out the top, and another one, just so you have some consistent examples of how they like to pen on the side, since there was likely light touching that area. So we're just gonna pop the top on these, and we don't even really need to scratch the surface. For the lion's mane, they're just going to go wherever the light is and where the air is. So if you open the top and keep it semi-closed to keep the moisture in, they're just going to jump right out of there and give you like a pound of fruit. We'll be putting the different blocks on different shelves because they have slightly different conditions, and then we will gauge which shelf each fungi like, because each species is different and like different things. Alright, so these beauty shots mark the end of the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. With so many species, there's so much going on, so I will be back to share more with you guys very, very soon. Take care.